On a vast inland sea, at the crossroads of a continent, Africa's oldest steamship has been operating for nearly a century.
Some people travel business, some people travel smuggling.
The MV Liemba travels the expanse of one of the largest lakes on Earth, playing a critical role in the lives of those in her wake.
The Liemba is a very vital link around Lake Tanganyika,
providing a vibrant meeting place for travelers from throughout Africa.
My country is in a war, and now I find myself in Liemba.
It has been for people of Lake Tanganyika their lifeline.
She's the queen of Africa. So she ferries everybody from every corner, every nook.
I've met people of all types and color. There are so many stories inside there. Exchange ideas.
Mary, 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 Tanzania. Mary, Tanzania, ina majina matatu na leo twasema. Mary, 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 Tanzania. Mary, Tanzania, ina majina matatu na leo twasema.
Liemba is a floating microcosm of the region, and her story is Africa's story. As a colonial gunship, she spread fear. As a commissioned UN vessel, she brings hope. She has been a catalyst for a common language and the inspiration for a classic Hollywood film. The MV Liemba is the thread that ties the people of Lake Tanganyika to one another and connects their past to their present and to their future. Lake Tanganyika stretches through the Great Rift Valley in Central East Africa. The lake connects the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, Burundi, and Tanzania. It is 670 kilometers long and 50 kilometers wide on average. It is the largest body of fresh water on the continent and the geographic link between Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. Most people living along the shores of Lake Tanganyika are far off the grid of global development. Villages are still without electricity, running water, or roads, and local people continue to depend on subsistence, fishing, and farming, just as they have for thousands of years. For many, the MV Liemba is their only contact with the modern world. Every week, people gather on the beaches along the Liemba's route, waiting for her to carry them to market, to school and the doctor, and to family and friends all over this region of Africa.
My grandfather was a great fisherman in our village. Very great fisherman, I can say. Because he used to make nets by himself. Very wonderful man. And there were plenty of fish inside. Well, about Liemba, I do remember it was in 1961. It was the first time. I was 11 by then. It was smoking like hell. They told me it is using firewood. If it's firewood or not, I don't know. And it was very slow. It was as slow as a chameleon.
Sasa wanadamu tumepewa neema na Mungu kwa ukombozi wa Yesu.
My name is Joseph. I'm coming from Kirando, you know. I'm going to Karema. There is my brother there, and he asked me to go there. So I must be there tomorrow morning. That's why I'm traveling with this Liemba. Make sure that I reach the place on time. Liemba is fast, but the people like to have another ship because there are so many people nowadays wants to travel ships. You know, sometimes Liemba is not enough.
If the Liemba were a human being, it would tell a long story about its own experiences.
Liemba's story begins in the early years of the 20th century, when Europe's powers were vying to gain control of the African continent. To strengthen its hold on East Africa, the German government was determined to connect the Great Lakes of Africa with the Indian Ocean via rail.
After the coming of the white men, slavery was abolished, and slave trails were replaced by iron rails.
First of all, the construction of the railway was not to facilitate the economy of this country. The construction of the railway was for the purpose of ferrying commodities to the Western industrialized countries.
And there goes a bullock on his way to Europe.
Construction was not done by machines. This was done on the backs of the local people. If you don't pay somebody a living wage, I would call that forced labor myself.
At the peak of construction, the Germans had 20,000 Africans working on the Central Railway. It is estimated that 100 men died each month as the track moved inland from the coast. Lake Tanganyika was a formidable obstacle on the way to Central Africa and an immense, unavoidable limitation on the Germans' colonial dream. Their answer was a ship that would claim the waters and the region for Germany. The ship was built in Germany in 1913 and christened the Graf von Gutzen. It was then disassembled, packed into 5,000 crates and shipped to Dar es Salaam on the African coast. From here, the ship was loaded onto a train and taken as far west as Tabora. Since the track from there to Kigoma had yet to be laid, the Germans had to rely on manpower to transport the ship the rest of the way. They bought slaves from Arab merchants and promised them a chance to earn their freedom. Over the course of 3 long months, thousands of Africans hauled more than 13 tons of steel boat parts over some 640 kilometers to the shore of Lake Tanganyika.
Nobody would have wanted to keep these records of how many people died, but definitely a lot of lives were lost.
Unanikumbusha mbali sana, unanikumbusha usemi wa Rogatiega wa Katapila, aliporia nilimbembeleza naye akanisikia.
By the time the Liemba reached the water in 1914, events in Europe were conspiring to break Germany's hold on East Africa.
It was put on the lake in early 1914, and the war started in August the same year. And everybody knew that in spite of the Berlin agreements, that no wars should be fought in the colonies. The Germans, or at least the military, knew that there would be some fighting here.
The British Navy dragged 2 small gunships through the Congolese jungle to Lake Tanganyika, and before long, the lake had become an important battleground in a far distant and foreign war, a turn of events that eventually inspired the novel and later film, The African Queen. Finally, on July 26, 1916, with defeat certain, the Germans meticulously greased all the parts of the Graf von Gutzen, opened her intake valves, and deliberately sank her 25 miles south of Kigoma.
Hoping that after the war they would come back and then float it again. So in the early years, actually, it benefited only the Germans, and even the Germans not so much.
The Graf von Gutzen lay submerged in the lake for 8 years until a British Royal Navy salvage team brought the ship back to the surface. In 1927, the vessel was relaunched as the SS Liemba. For the next 40 years, the Liemba operated as a British colonial merchant vessel, traveling more or less the same route that it does today.
I was born in 1950 at a village called Karema. I schooled up to class 7. Then I passed the exams and I went to Tabora Boys Secondary School. So everywhere I was going to school, I had to board Liemba and back, go back for 6 years. I did this geographical course and I passed after 2 years. Then I was employed by the government as a stenographer. The first employment I was employed at Arusha, then at Dar es Salaam, then back to Kigoma. In Dar es Salaam life is very, very nice, but I missed the fish in this lake, especially carpenter. There's no carpenter anyway, except in this lake. I missed my relatives because all the relatives were staying along the lake, so I missed them. That's the second thing I missed. The salary by then was very, very low. I decided to be a businessman. I collect some capital and start traveling. Some people travel business, some people travel smuggling along the borders. A person can't be frank about what he's traveling for. But as I told you, the police now are flexible. You can talk to him, you can briberies quite a lot. You can tip him, and you pass.
The Liemba is 71 meters long, has a beam of 10 meters, and a running speed of 9 knots, or just over 16 kilometers per hour. The experience of riding the Liemba varies greatly. Depending on how much money a passenger is able or willing to pay, the accommodations range from a first-class cabin with private bath to a metal bunk below deck to any available space on board.
My name is Captain Simukamba. I'm the captain of this ship, MV Liemba. I was employed in 1980, but immediately after I was employed, I was sent to Indonesia for further studies. There are 30 crew members, and the ship is able to carry 200 tons of cargo and 600 passengers. Every week we have around 100 tons of cement from Kasanga to Kigoma.
MV
Lake, depending on Liemba. These are small traders, small fish. We call them daga.
Fish has traditionally supplied 40% of the protein needs of those living along Lake Tanganyika's shoreline. Fishing for kapenta is a $100 million a year industry and provides a livelihood to some 1 million people. The kapenta trade is a cooperative venture. Groups of men fish at night using nets and kerosene lamps to attract the kapenta. In the morning, some of the catch is sold fresh. The rest is dried on screens or on gravel, then either sold locally in markets or bagged up and shipped out on the MV Liemba. The Liemba transports more than 100 tons of kapenta each week.
Yeah, kapenta is easy to catch. It's easy because, you see, you don't have to buy the nets by yourself. You can be employed to a certain person who has a net, because one net needs something like 10 to 12, up to 20 people. I can't have a net, my friend can have, and can get employed there, provided I use my force. And because we fish them in bulks, everyone gets his own share and satisfied. And as I told you, the price is down high. It's a hot cake, in fact. It's needed by so many countries, by especially the poor. I mean, at least 90% of the people in this country are poor, and they can afford, because you buy this heap with a family of, let's say, 4 people, man, wife, and 2 children, for only 100 shillings.
The round-trip journey takes 5 days from Kigoma to Mpulungu, Zambia, and back. The Liemba stops at 19 villages each way.
The ship must leave Kigoma on Wednesdays.
Kigoma to Kirando, c'est 3h15 minutes. From Kirando up to Sigunga, 1 hour enough.
Lagosa to Sibwesa is 4 hours.
Sibwesa wapya?
Kutoka Ikola kwenda Kalema, dakika 35. Hapo tunakuelekea
Kalia. From Sibwesa to Kalia in 30 minutes.
Kalia up to Ikola, 3 hours enough. Hapo to Korongwe, faisons 45 minutes.
From Korongwe to Kirando, 2 hours.
Kutoka Kipili kwenda Nine masaa mawili. Wampembe tukala, faisons 1h20. Kala tukasanga 4 hours of course.
From Kasanga to Mpulungu is more than 2 hours and a half. Yeah, it's correct. You arrive in Mpulungu.
Every few hours around the clock, Liemba stops at villages along her way. Boats race to meet her to exchange passengers, cargo, and of course, kapenta.
I come from Sumbawanga town and I'm going to Sibwesa, the next village. I'm going there to find small fishes so that sometimes you get a money for carry on to life. We wearing clothes, with some food. Yes, we're smoking cigarettes, we're drinking some alcohol.
All along the Liemba's route, people are constantly coming aboard, some for an hour, others for a day, or for the entire journey. Day and night, the decks buzz with conversation, and what seems on the surface merely a mode of transportation quickly transforms into a floating community.
Apart from passenger and cargo transportation, the boat offers what we can call auxiliary services. For instance, people would like to have drinks. These drinks are not available in these villages. They come on board to take drinks, as well as some merchandise. Fruits which are available on board the ship, there are two categories. We have local produce like pineapples. We also have fruits from South Africa. So MV Liemba sometimes is like a supermarket.
Many of the local villagers ride out to meet the Liemba, simply to do a bit of shopping or to sell some of their own products, disembarking before she moves on.
Hey, my name is Aziz. I'm from Kigoma. It's very, very busy here. People selling food, rice, meat. They don't have that plates, you know. They just come with a plastic bag, they put the rice and meat here and bring up to the passenger who want to eat. Just go like that, you know. Yeah. Also they sell it for, this is cost 500. It's one plate, it's like one plate of yeah. But in a ship, I mean in a restaurant, it's about 2,000 or 1,500. Not all the passengers can just go in a restaurant and eat. Umenoda gani? 500. You say probably for 500. Vipi? Ni kizuri kabisa. Tamu sana. You say it's good. It's good. The guy said this is really good food, yes. It's nice. They try to find out whose luggage is that. But there's a guy who also wants his sugar cane here. Yeah, I can hear the lady say that he left his flip-flops in the boat. Hey, wait. Hello, wait. I try to help him through my hand. Wait. Anasema ndala zake dada. Flip-flops doesn't belong to that lady. It's belong to this old man here. I can see the old man going to get his flip-flops. No, it's not, yeah?
Wow! Abiba yane mwana mokoboye. Rochelle, solango ya moyo. Nyata! Oya mutu fili belenge tukila kuna boto. Ayaya fili belenge tukila kuna boto. Aya bobe ngapeti moni. Abobe ngapeti.
My name is Gadiel Saria. I was born in Kilimanjaro, 1982. I do work in Liemba as a waiter. I was digging Tanzanite. I was trying to tell my mother, I don't like, again, to deep Tanzanite. I don't like. But my mother would tell me, if you can't, or if we did it to deep Tanzanite, don't stay with me. Your life is up to you. I was coming Kigoma. I was meeting with Mr. Dennis. How are you? I'm fine. Where are you from? I was born in Kilimanjaro. Where? Which place? Kisangari. Oh, Kisangari village. Oh. I shall try you for 1 week. Tell me, okay, let's go. Maisha ya nyumbani bwana, sidanganyi, ni magumu na ni mazuri. Kilimanjaro kwa sababu ni nyumbani. Lakini sasa tatizo linalosababisha nisiishi pale ni hela. Majukumu ni makubwa yanayokuangalia na namna hakuna. Ndio maana tunapotelea kama tunakaa miaka mitatu, ikiwezekana tusirudi kabisa.
Jina langu mimi nimeshatangulia kusema kama ni Andrew Vitu Simlali. Na nafanya kazi kota master kwenye hii meli. Ni mwendeshaji wa meli. Vitu Simlali. Mimi nimeanza kazi hapa mwaka 77 kwenye hii meli MV Liemba. Kazi ambayo kwa hivi sasa hakuna kazi yoyote ambayo naifanya, ni kwamba nafanya ni kazi hii ambayo ni kazi ya meli. Unaweza ukawa kwenye uendeshaji wa meli au wakati mwingine akaniona kwenye crane.
na wakati mwingine nitakuwa kwenye shughuli za mizigo au kucheki tiketi. Hiyo ni moja tu ya kazi ambazo ni lazima wewe uwepo tu nafanya hiyo kazi, kwa sababu ni kazi moja ya shirika tu. Mimi nina watoto 9 ambao ndo nao. Sio majonzi kwa sababu na watoto wachache ambao nilionao nyumbani, na wengi wameshakuwa na kazi zao sasa. Wanafanya kazi zao ambao wamesoma na wameshapata kazi zao. Sasa ni kiasi kwamba nimekwisha zoea, wengine wako mbali na wengine ninao pale. Kwa hiyo nimezoea. Majonzi ni kama ya kawaida tu.
For 4 decades after World War I, the Liemba remained a British ship, just as Tanzania itself remained a British colony. Then, in 1962, the fortunes of the Liemba, Lake Tanganyika, and all of Tanzania suddenly changed.
The sun shone upon the harbor at Dar es Salaam, and sunny too was every heart in the city itself, and not only in the city but throughout Tanganyika. A new nation had arisen. Independence had been achieved. And His Royal Highness was welcomed to Tanganyika by the Governor, Sir Richard Turnbull, his wife, and Mr. Julius Nyerere, the Prime Minister. 39 years old, graduate of Edinburgh University, Premier Nyerere has brought his nation to the promised land of independence.
People were very uncertain of the independence by itself because they were afraid that this thing is going to bring war. So I remember my father and my grandfather went in the bush to hide, afraid of being caught and be beaten, afraid of war.
At independence, custody of the ship was transferred to the new government and she became a Tanzanian marine vessel, the MV Liemba. She also inadvertently became part of Prime Minister Nyerere's bold dream to create a greater East African common market and community united by a common language, Kiswahili. As the primary means of transportation among the villages in the Lake Tanganyika region, the Liemba spread the language of independence all the way along the lake's 1,900 kilometers of coastline and played a critical role in forging Tanzania's national unity.
Tanzania has about 125 ethnic groups, and they all have their own languages.
There is no way you could promote national unity with more than 120 vernaculars. It would also be costly from an educational point of view, producing textbooks in more than 120 ethnic languages.
Well, the fact that we have no clashes, ethnic clashes in this country is based on the efforts made by the late President Mwalimu Nyerere.
Yes, Tanzania used to be a wonderful country too. Unfortunately, they got this character, Nyerere, who destroyed this country. He took away the English language, which destroyed the educational system. They can't speak, communicate. Even the ministers do not know English. He nationalized the land, 1965. We destroyed the agriculture industry, made his country poor.
Very charismatic guy, that man. Without him, there could be no peace. He brought this language, Kiswahili, to unite all the people. There was a question of, what tribe are you? This question he fought. That you don't have to ask your friend, what tribe are you? He's an African, you're an African. He's a Tanzanian, you're a Tanzanian. He's a brother.
Nyerere's nation building helped Tanzania avoid the tribal fighting that has been so devastating in other countries around the lake. Since independence, Rwanda and Burundi have lost approximately 1.4 million of their people to civil war. And since 1998, conflict and humanitarian crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo has taken the lives of 5.4 million people in what has been the world's deadliest conflict since World War II.
My name is Freddy Munyololo Muganza. I'm from DR Congo. I'm living in Cape Town, South Africa. You know, my country's in a war. We have 400 and something tribes in Congo. And I can say Congolese people are greedy. At the moment, are greedy. They would like, everyone would like to rule the country because the country is very rich. So they would like to get minerals, I don't know, diamonds, gold, and everything to take to the Western countries. So I left in 2000 to go down to South Africa to see if I can get a better life or just where there's no war. That's for my survival. I have a fiancé and I left her 4 years ago. So I was in need now to get my fiancé just to live together. I couldn't cross the border to go to Eastern Congo. So I've phoned my parents just to take my wife to Burundi so that I can collect her from here. There's suspense because we don't know when the next war will explode. Just imagine in a war, there is looting and everything. After 4 years, you meet your family members. No one was killed and everyone is intact. That was brilliant, fantastic. I was very happy. In South Africa, you know that there they can receive you as a refugee and they don't have discrimination. But in the other countries, they deport you immediately. Or if they don't take you straight to your country, they put you in a camp where there's no life, you know what I'm saying? Because myself, I'm an educated person. I wouldn't like to be in a camp just standing, sleeping and eating for free. But in South Africa, if you would like to further your studies, you can have an opportunity to get a scholarship and now you can further your study. If I stay here in the Congo, I will fight for the peace of the country. But the education that my country needs, I won't get it down here in Congo. So I have a scholarship from the University of Cape Town. So I'm doing my master's in chemistry, in organic chemistry, especially in medicinal chemistry. And I'm planning to do my PhD, and later on I would like to go back home and to do something at home, because you know, at home we need people who are educated. I see Congo is the light of Africa. That's I'm sure of. It's like if what I'm thinking, and I know that even I won't see it, or my children or my grandchildren won't see it, but later on, whoever would like to have a better life will come to Congo.
After the conclusion of the First Congolese War in the mid-90s, the United Nations commissioned the Liemba to return refugees from Tanzania to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since the mid-1990s, the Liemba has transported over 100,000 refugees.
Kumbukumbu hiyo itakurudisha nyumbani. Oh Liemba, tusikilie huruma, turudi nyumbani. Imewakutanisha watu wanaoongea Kiswahili na wale walingala Kiingereza, Kifaransa.
Kigoma is Liemba's home port. The ship stops here for 2 days, giving the crew a chance to spend a day on dry land, rest, and see family and friends. Kigoma was a gem in the crown of colonial German East Africa. The Germans chose this site to build a city because of its deep water harbor and well-established slave caravan route to the coast. The area had been a hub for Arab and Swahili slave traders in the 1800s, and it is where Sir Henry Morton Stanley uttered the famous words, "Dr. Livingstone, I presume." Today, with a population of well over 100,000, Kigoma remains an epicenter of transit and commerce. Because of Tanzania's enduring peace, Kigoma, the largest city on the lake, has become a refuge from the wars in the area. 1/3 of the city's population are refugees. The same train line from the coast that brought Liemba to the lake nearly 100 years ago now carries passengers to Kigoma once a week. Many of these passengers will continue their travels on the MV Liemba.
I use Liemba for seeing the family and for business. Because you see, what I can call a polygamist. I've got one wife here and a wife at home. So I move every month. In course of traveling, as you see me, I got an accident. I lost one of my sides. I was traveling in a truck. The car turned over. That's how I got an accident. Some other people died. I survived.
Rested, the crew readies the vessel for another journey down Lake Tanganyika.
Jama nimepatikana mwenzenu kibula nimepatikana yamenikuta.
Mama Kasinde Yoka Roger Muzungu.
Ya kwamba uko na mke ambaye unaishi naye kwenu.
As a theft deterrent, Kapenta is packed into cumbersome sacks weighing over 90 kilograms each.
Napata pressure juu yako wewe baba, umulize Bonika Probo shida ninazopata.
Papa Zozo famille.
Yeah. Ya kwamba uko na mke ambaye unaishi naye kwenu. Umekuja kunidanganya hadi tukafunga nawe pilu za maisha. Naumia, nateseka, napata pressure juu yako wewe baba.
My name's Chris Job. I'm a patent attorney from Pretoria in South Africa. Every winter I try and set off on safari. And this year I decided to travel up by road, up the east shore of Tanganyika. Lake Tanganyika, it's massive, it's a wonderful expanse of water, but it's largely inaccessible. There's no road that really tracks the lake. It's been, for me, a very, very tough drive. I've been traveling alone, and I just thought that the return journey, it could be too risky. So, hence the Liemba, this wonderful craft. South Africans have become much freer since '94, since our new government. And as a guy in his mid-50s, I've been excluded from the African continent for many years. So we've had 10 years of a whole new experience.
While Liemba's key role in today's economy is clear, the fact that she was brought to Tanzania as part of the German effort to colonize Africa remains controversial.
Colonialism, it was not a philanthropic system of governance. If a railway was built, it was built because it was going to help the system function much better. If a ship was put on a lake, it was because it was going to help extraction of material. So it was not put there because these fellows were so nice, they wanted to help these African people who are going to develop. I don't think so.
I mean, there are certain benefits that accrue. I mean, there is no one who is going to doubt that the Liemba is now a very vital link saving the communities around Lake Tanganyika on both sides. But I don't think that was the primary motive, to benefit the Africans.
Since the independence in the Congo, 10 million people have died. So much for their independence and freedom. And it's a tragedy. And I can tell you, if I asked, or you asked, in privacy, these people, virtually everyone would want the Belgians to come back and run the Congo, for the white Rhodesians to run Zimbabwe again. Of course, it's utopia. But too many people have told me this. And I wish it could happen, but it's too late.
For me, colonization was good for Africans. Through colonization, we knew many things: civilization, evangelization, business, agriculture system. Also, people before didn't know how to pray. People were praying stones, were praying trees. Sure, we knew God through the colonization. Those priests that we came here to preach.
My opinion regarding colonization is different from this guy. ቅኝ ግዛት በጣም መጥፎ ነገር ነው ማለት ይልቅስ ቅኝ ግዛትን እንደ እድገት የምናየው ከሆነ በጣም በትልቁ ተሳስተናል። ስለዚህ ቅኝ ግዛት ሳይሆን አገርን የሚያሳድገው የሰዎች የራስ ጥረት ነው። ኢቨን ለአሁን ላለው ጦርነት ኢትዮጵያ በአፍሪካ ውስጥ እድገት እንዳይኖር ያደረገው አንዱ መንስኤ ይሄ ቅኝ ግዛት ነው። አፍሪካዎች እርስ በርስ እንዳይግባቡ፣ ምክንያቱም እነሱ ለራሳቸው ጥቅም ብቻ ፎከስ አድርገው ስለነበረ የእኛን እርስ በርስ መግባባት እድገትን አዘግይተውብን ነበር እና ከዚህ አንጻር ስንመለከተው ቅኝ ግዛት ጥሩ አይደለም።
Well, it is hard to judge whether what was brought here would be equal to what has been done to this part of the world. The most important thing is to realize that these things were not fair. You cannot replace human life with trains.
After nearly a century, Liemba endures. Some may call her a colonial relic, but she is not. She has transformed into a vessel that is truly and uniquely African.
Maybe people can come and enjoy the trips by MV Liemba from everywhere in the world. They can just come here and take a trip from Kigoma to Mpolongo or from Mpolongo to Kigoma.
When you talk of Liemba, it's just like pyramids in Egypt. It is a common thing, although it is old, but it is a common thing. She's the queen of Africa. So she ferries everybody from every corner, every nook.
The Liemba is just a fantastic experience, and it's something that everybody should really know about, its history and what it does for the people.
It has been for hundreds of people living on the shores of Lake Tanganyika their lifeline.
So it has gone through moments of crisis, but moments also of harmonious economic relations. which it is now still playing that role in serving as a commercial link between these countries that border around. Finally, the Liemba will be really the key link to a greater Eastern and Central African common market.
Well, I've met people of all types and color. Most are Africans from Tanzania itself, Congo, Burundi, the Arabs, and tourists. We make friends. There are so many stories inside there. We exchange ideas.
Lakini kwa neema
ya Mungu tumepata wokovu wa bure.
Wanadamu wote
fahamuni kwamba zamani hatukuwa na thamani,
lakini neema kwako imefunuliwa, ni bure bila malipo yoyote. Lakini neema kwako imefunuliwa, ni bure bila malipo yoyote. Neema kwako Baba,